Do not go anywhere, as we will be here live with the action from round 4, I believe, round 3 of the Cool Racing and Slow Racing Multi-Class League.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
So then here we are for the start of qualifying here at Portugal. We are at the Estoril Grand Prix circuit, as drivers are now getting out on their outlap. As you see, drivers getting out nice and cleanly. A fairly small grid this week. Actually, I'll take that back. We've got 29 drivers here this week, I believe, or maybe down to 23 as drivers are getting out on their outlaps. As per usual, it is Eric Rotterdink who will be the first one out on track. He's consistently one of the first ones out on the circuit, and it is no different here in Portugal. Not the sunniest of weathers out there, so track temperatures could be fairly low, which we could see being a lot less grip than what we have seen in practice. Obviously, these conditions can change in the race. They may have to adjust their tyre pressures, as it does get very hot here in Portugal. Obviously, we're coming towards the autumn seasons, where it is slightly cooler. See Eric having to fight the rear of the car as he is now coming through this long right-hander here. He's got Thomas Erzen just behind, as he is now going to start his flying lap. We have 13 minutes on the clock for drivers to get in their quick laps, as that is a driver coming out of the pit lane now. So we'll have a look through the order. Hines, a driver new to the GT2 multi-class. He is in the C7R, obviously racing for Apex Predator Racers, which he done in the Cayman Cups. Obviously this is the sister team to the team of Apex Predator Racing of Darren Adams and Luca. Speaking of Darren Adams, there he is in the Ginetta GT4. Unfortunately, Callum and Chris's liveries are not working this week, which is a shame. Maybe they haven't got the paint schemes finished as of yet. I believe they had, so we may have to have a look into that and see whether we can fix that. So we'll have a look through. Actually, the Northern Lights Racing drivers have got a newly updated livery, now rocking the green, white and black livery. And as you see, just behind you have Yusuf, also in that Cool Racing livery. Looking very smart indeed. Hopefully we can have a look into Callum's and Chris Thorpe's livery. Hopefully we can do that when we wait in between the two, in between qualifying and the race. However, it will be Eric Rotterdink who will be setting the pace here at Estoril. What lap time will it be? It was a 140.7, however, instantly beat by Thomas Erzen, who then takes that pole position. And then Matteo Santini comes and beats that as well. Will we see any more change of positions? Not really so far. Janko, a driver who took that first round victory at Donington Park, he unfortunately is down there in 7th, and he unfortunately missed the last week's or 2 weeks ago race at Road America, which has hampered his championship standings, but I don't think it's jostled it too much. Josh there in 10th, currently 2nd out of the Ginettas. We haven't got many GT2s this week, a lot of them opting for the Ginetta GT4. Just see, so we'll have a look through quite a few different drivers. Ignas Misevicius, not sure whether I probably completely butchered that pronunciation, but he seems to be a new driver to this season in the Ferrari 458 GT2. He's sitting there down in 20th with an outlap of 2 minutes 50, however that can all change here as he's now on his flying lap very sideways through the very tight chicane. We could see many moves there. It is difficult to get it done through them corners as it is ever so tight. However, it is not impossible, as he is now coming through the final turn. Thomas Erzen actually jumps Matteo, and then Matteo jumps Thomas Erzen as well for pole position, so they are back in the order they were. Ignas up into 3rd, managing to jump Eric Rotterdink. He takes that 2nd row, 3rd position, as Janko then goes and sets a pole lap of a 39.522, very strong lap by him. He has shown very good pace in that C7R when he has raced, and he certainly seems to be showing it here. We'll try and have a look through the order. Marjan and Miha coming out of the pits at the same time, going to try and tow each other along in the slipstream. See both there in their 911 RSRs. Both seem to be running identical paint schemes, so maybe it was one of their old cars, whilst one of them may be getting repainted or adjusted or done up. Maybe he got caught in a collision last week at Road America and they are still working on that repairs, I'm not sure. As we will come to Janko in the C7R. It's looking very comfortable in that car, not really having to work it that much. Shifting quite early, strangely, so I'm not sure whether he's on an outlap. Yes, he is. That will explain the short shifting. Obviously, a lot of the drivers are opting for the super soft tyres, the grippiest and the fastest of the tyres. However, quite a few of them are actually on soft, so I'm not sure whether they're practicing a a race run, sorry. But quite a few, like Thomas Erzen, and then from Ignas all the way down to Bozo Hui. Quite all of them on the soft tyres, and obviously the Ginetta GT4s are on the hard tyre. 7 minutes then remaining in the session. A lot of drivers actually on their outlaps. Michael Curvers managing to get himself up into 4th in the 458. He has got Eric Rotterdink in front, who is slightly slower in terms of pace. Looks like they're getting a little out of shake over the crest of that hill there, as they come through the final turn. Will Eric or Michael be able to improve? Looks like Michael's diving into the pit lane, so we'll have to see whether Eric can up his lap time. He cannot, he stays 6th. Looks like Matteo Santini has got a bit of traffic there of Yusuf in front, which could cost his lap time. He's only got to find 7 thousandths to catch up to Janko in front, and looks like he is abandoning that lap. Thomas Erzen has got his teammate of Mate in front. Or Matyas, sorry, not Mate. As they come down through this very fast right, very quick through there. So they have to get heavy on the brakes for this very tight chicane. Matyas leaving space for his teammate to get past on the soft tyre as well. As we'll actually come back to Matyas and Thomas Erzen, who are now going to finish their laps. It's Josh Martin now crossing line. He does go slightly faster, but not enough to gain any positions. And Yusuf actually jumps up into 17th place. Thomas Erzen still staying in third, sorry, and Matyas in 9th. So we are now about to clock 5 minutes left in the session. It is Jeffrey who leads Darren Adams. Darren not been having the best of results in that Ginetta this season. He definitely seems a lot more comfortable here in Portugal. You've then got the Scottish driver of Josh Martin, and then his teammate, the Turkish driver of Yusuf. Luca, Darren Adams' teammate, he's down there in 18th, which is 5th of the Ginettas. Looks like Janko is now going on to the soft tyres, so maybe he's looking to do a practice race run rather than trying to get an even faster lap time. Or maybe they are faster on the softs than they are the super soft, because obviously they get up to temperature very quickly and can overheat, which means you lose a lot of rear end grip, which you do not want to be doing, as that is not very fun to drive when you're fighting the rear end, nor is it very quick either. So we see Thomas Erzen then going to be finishing his flying lap shortly. See whether he can improve, as he is now going to come across the line. No, he cannot. Can his teammate? No, he cannot improve either. So it is still Janko who leads Matteo, who leads Thomas Erzen to Michael Curvers, to Ignas, who's managed to spin it in the pit lane. Not sure why he's pointing the wrong way, but that is very strange. They're almost as strange as the Stroll and Vettel crash at Sepang in Malaysia, when they crashed on the cooldown lap. As you see, big lock up from Miha there, coming into the long hairpin. Janko then will hop on board for a lap around Estoril. As you see, coming down the straight, up through the gears into 6th, reaching 260 kilometers an hour. As they dive onto the brakes down into 2nd gear through a very tight turn 1, using all the exit as they come under the bridge through this fast right, very similar to the top section of Monza there, where you have that very fast right after the 2nd chicane. As he comes up now through another tight hairpin. Seems to be very tight, this circuit. A lot of very tight 2nd gear corners, compared to circuits like Donington and Road America, where it's very fast and flowing. Up to the top of 5th, sorry, as you brake for this tight almost double apex left-hander. Admittedly, it is one long curb, as Matteo Santini is actually able to improve and goes up into the lead. As you see Janko there sitting in 2nd through the chicane now, very tight through there. You can just see how tight it is, as he gets onto the power as early as he can to try and get the drive out of the corner, using all the curb up the inside, as he is now going to carry on through this very, very long right-hander towards the finish straight. Can he improve? He's got to find 0.3 of a second if he does. He does improve, but unfortunately not enough to take pole position, and it will be his final lap, I believe. So he will have to make this one count. Matteo Santini on an out lap, so he will be able to get one more flying lap. As he now comes through the fast right. 160 kilometers an hour through there, through the final turn. Can he gain any more of a lead to Janko behind? No, because he's on an out lap. Does generally help when they're not on an out lap. It is still Jeffrey who leads Darren, who leads actually Alice Curran, a driver who's been not having the best of results in previous races. He's up in 3rd. You've then got Josh Martin in 4th, Luca in 5th, who's managed to jump Josh's teammate Yusuf into 6th. You've then got Callum Friday and Chris Thorpe in 7th and 8th. Michael Kerber's actually able to jump Thomas Erzen to get up into 3rd. Really strong lap by him. He's got 500s. As that's the driver off there. That's the driver off in the background. That was Miha. That is a big collision to the front of that car. That could cost him the race. Whether those boys can get it prepared in between the 2 races, I'm not sure. It is still Matteo who leads as Janko goes fastest. He goes with a 139.112. I believe that is the end of his qualifying session as Matteo pulls off to the track. So that will be a pole position for Janko, unless if Thomas Erzen or Matthias can beat him. As we'll come to Thomas Erzen, as I believe he is further around the track. Comes through the fast right, through the chicane. He's only got one more corner to go. He's got to find 5/10 to take 3rd from Michael 500, sorry, to take 3rd from Michael Kerbers. As he now comes through the long right-hander of the final turn. Can he improve? He's got to find 5/10 or even 500ths or 6/10. He does. He goes up into 3rd and manages to jump Michael Kerbers. Really strong lap then by Thomas Erzen. Here you have Matthias now going to come across the line. You've got Josh and Yusuf. Josh jumps up into 2nd place with a 146.1. Really good lap by him, and Matthias unfortunately not able to improve. So that was your qualifying. We will be heading to the races soon. Do not go anywhere. So then here we are for the start of the Estoril Grand Prix. The lights are beginning to turn on now. And away we go. We are green flag racing then. Really good start there by Miha as he looks to jump the 458 up in front. They're going 3 wide there. Eric, Miha and the Ferrari on the inside. Janko getting off to a nice and clean start as they all come filtering out into turn 1. Looks like a lot of drivers are going side by side. Michael Curvers looked like he was going side by side with Thomas Erzen. However, he has to filter out back into 4th place. Drivers coming out in single file now as Heinz is looking up the inside of Marjan. Can he get it done? Bozo Fui going very wide there on the exit. Heinz is going side by side with Marjan. He's stuck around the outside. They are still side by side as they come down the straight. That's the driver off, and that's contact between one of the core racing drivers and another Ginetta, which is unfortunate. Heinz and Marjan are going still going side by side. Try and get my words out as Marjan is sticking it up the inside. However, Heinz is not backing out. They are still side by side down this small straight. You've got Eric Rotterdink in front. Heinz brakes as late as he dares, and he manages to get up into 10th place. So they were almost battling side by side for half a lap there. Yusuf closing on the rear of Alice Current as he looked to make a move. It looked like Josh did manage to get past Jeffrey for a second as they go side by side through the chicane as he gets tapped there on the rear by Darren Adams. However, Josh managed to keep it in a straight line. Really good driving by him. It is Janko who leads Matteo to Thomas, Michael and Matthias, as they are all filtering out single file. You can already see there is a big gap between Bozo and Jeffrey, as we'll come to Michael Curvers, who's closing right on the rear of Thomas Erzen now as they come through the right-hander. Fortunately not really able to get up any positions, as that's unfortunately that's Eric Rotterdink around, as him maybe potentially out of the race. He doesn't seem to be moving anywhere. Yes, he's managed to get that vehicle started. He is off out of the way. Heinz then managed to get himself up into 9th, so a really good start by him. Matteo Santini right on the rear of Janko now as they come down this long straight. Janko going to have the inside. He's going to have to defend from the 911 RSR as that's him into a wall. Unfortunate for him. Has he picked up some front damage? I'm not sure. We'll have to see when he comes around. Looks like he has picked up a bit of front damage, and that has put him down in 6th place. And that gives the lead to Matteo Santini. Unfortunately witnessing a bit of lag there, as you saw the cars going very sideways. Not sure what is happening. Hopefully it will sort itself out. But as you see, unfortunate for Janko, who's now sitting down in 6th place. Drivers are already beginning to space out now. As I say that, Heinz is closing onto Miha in front. He's already got past me, his teammate behind. Will he be able to make it another one and get up into 8th place? We will certainly have to wait and see, as it's already been a pretty intense first lap. Zan then closing on the rear, very sideways on the exit there, well held by Zan, as Eric is now looking to get past, which he does nice and cleanly. Obviously with the C7R being the much faster vehicle, he should be able to just breeze past. Heinz on the rear of Miha yet again, not really being able to properly make a move. Janko going in on Gasper to try and get past and get back up to Matteo Santini. Thomas Erzen was actually jumped by his teammate. Thomas on the mediums, whereas Matthias is on the softs. Will we see these two battling in front, or will they try and push together? I'm sure if they battle, it will be similar to Force India's situations in quite a few races. Heinz in 9th, still not been able to get past Miha, in front. Very big sideways moment for him as he now comes down through the chicane. 0.3 separating the two. So he has this left and then the long right-hander of the final turn. 0.4 seconds then separating them. 0.2 as they now come out of the final turn. Will he be able to make a move down into turn 1? It's certainly possible, as we'll have to hop on board as the camera angles are not very good down the pitch straight. Will he pop out for a move? No, he does not. You can see the flames spitting out of the side of the car, but unfortunately he is not able to get past that car in front. You see right on the rear, so that's Marjan round and into a wall. Really big contact. He's managed to get it going again as he goes back around. He's doing some handbrake turns in the Tesco's car park, or even decided to opt for some McDonald's trays in his front wheel drive car to try his test at drifting. Eric Roterdink then still sitting in 22nd. Now Chris Thorpe is now looking for a move on Zan. Nice and easily done. However, Zan is looking to fight back up the inside of the next right-hander. They stick it side by side. Zan is up the inside and he gets past nice and cleanly. So that puts Zan up, up in front of Chris Thorpe. Michael Curvers managing to get his way up into second, so maybe Matthias and Thomas Erzen came into a bit of trouble as Michael was down in third. Hines back on the rear of Miha. He's going to try and look for a way past soon. He's been waiting there for quite a while. 0.2 seconds now. He has been able to close up, as you see, through the final turn. Miha was slightly off the apex on the inside, and you can just see how much time Hines has caught up. 0.4 seconds, however, on the exit, so maybe Hines dipped a couple of wheels on the curb and potentially lost a bit of pace. As you see, coming down into turn 1. He's still not really able to close up onto the rear of Miha in front. You've then got Janko then after his contact with the wall. He's down there in 5th place. Eric Roterdink is trying to make some progress. He's down there in 21st position. He's got a lot of work to do. The next driver is up in 12th, which is a good 10-15 seconds up the road, if not even more. So he's got a lot of catching up to do, that is for sure. As that's Ignis off playing in the gravel, and that is some heavy damage to that car. I would have thought they may have to retire that car, as that is some substantial damage to it. And that may even be that car used for the season, and they may have to invest in a new 458 GT2, which is not cheap. None of these cars are particularly cheap. And you certainly don't want to be throwing them away, especially with this being his first race. Hines then seems to be so much quicker through the twisties, as that is Ignis off on the edge of the track. He has retired back to the pit lane. Not sure whether he's going to be retiring from the race, as Hines may look for a move down into turn 1. 0.1 seconds separating the two as he pops out of the slipstream. Miha's going to have to go defensive. Hines not really been able to stick it alongside. However, Miha doesn't get the best of exits, and that allows Hines to get up alongside. Hines not having the pace on the exit. Bit of a cut there on the inside of Miha. Hines is looking to the inside of this right-hander. Miha not giving him a lot of space. However, that is him up and past. Darren now putting some pressure on Josh. Josh managing to hold his own and hold on to that 13th place. Unfortunately, he has lost a lot of time to Jeffrey in front, a whole second that last lap. And he is really pushing that car to its limits. You see, he was right on the edge of the track. Thomas Erzen was closing on the rear of Matthias then, as these two are now going to come under pressure from Janko behind. 0.6 seconds separating the two. As they now come through the chicane. Just a few corners left of this 5th lap in the race. See Janko really not that far behind. With that front damage, it has cost him a bit of aero speed in terms of not being able to carry as much corner speed as before, as Janko is really closing on to the rear of Thomas Erzen as they now cross the finish line. Janko then looking up the inside of Thomas Erzen, brakes as late as he dares and gets up alongside. Nice move by Janko. He is up into 4th place. Hines then closing on the rear of Miha again, nearly swerving off into the wall there. That could have been quite a fatal crash, as that is some very high speeds. However, Hines is just not able to get past that 911 RSR in front. He's really working as hard as he can to get past, however he just doesn't have the pace, as that's a slight mistake. He dipped wheels as he braked and he went very wide through the left, and that has cost him a position to Mate, and that has allowed Miha to breathe a bit. Hines will be looking to get past that blue C7R as quickly as he can, so he can catch back up to the driver of Miha in front. 0.2 seconds, 0.1 seconds separating them as they come down the back straight. Slight bit of contact there between the two. They bang doors, however no drivers got off badly as they touch wheels. Hines managing to get up around the outside of Mate and gets up into 8th as Mate runs very wide as he goes through the chicane. Looks like he didn't gain much time. Yusuf letting Eric Rotterding past. He's got a lot of catching up to do if he wants to catch up to these drivers in front. Josh Martin not been able to really close down on Jeffrey so far. Jeffrey has proved very good so far through the series, as he has made 2 race victories, I believe, and could this be his 3rd in a row? It is certainly possible. You see, focusing on Jeffrey up in front is Josh Martin. He has got Darren Adams behind. He's got a bit of a gap behind, but not enough where he can be completely comfortable. Eric pushing up through the Ginetta grid then, as he looks to chase down Luca in front. Janko trying to close down on Matthias in front. Bit of a mistake maybe by Thomas Erzen as he's dropped off 3-4 seconds to Janko and Matthias, which is quite a lot of time. We'll have a look if it was last lap. It was. He lost 3 seconds at last lap, so maybe he made a mistake. I am not sure. Janko trying to catch up to Matthias and try and make a move. He's right on the rear through the final turn. Can he make a move through turn 1? 0.3 seconds, so I doubt he can really make a move. 0.2, he is closing, however not enough to properly get alongside and to properly make a dive. 0.3 still separating Janko and Matthias. He has got a lot of work to do if he wants to get past. Alice then closing onto the rear of Luca Pecole up in front through the chicane. Luca carried a lot more speed in, however that is a good example of slow in, fast out, as Alice is closed right back up onto the rear of Luca. 0.4 separate them as they come onto their 9th lap. 0.3 seconds separating them as they come down the back straight. Janko there in 4th, still chasing down Mathieu in front. 0.4 separating the two as Alice and Luca went side by side. Luca was able to get, Alice was able to get past, however he made a mistake down through turn 1, and that puts Luca back into 16th place, which is 5th out of, or 4th, no, yeah, 4th out of the Ginettas, as we'll come to Janko catching onto the rear of Matthias. 0.5 seconds separating them as they come down the back straight, or the pit straight, sorry, as they are coming down into the braking zone, not really able to get past. Heinz then has managed to get past Mate after his mistake and is chasing down Miha yet again. Heinz has got much more pace than Miha in front, both on the medium tyres. So both should be wearing about the same rate. Obviously Heinz will be wearing slightly faster, purely down to the fact that he's at a higher or a faster pace than Miha in front. However, he is still not able to get past that blue, white and red Valvoline Porsche 911 RSR in front. As you see, through the tight left-hander, not able to properly get past. Another battle between a C7R and a 911 RSR is Janko and Mathieu fighting for that final podium position. They have got 9 seconds roughly to the driver of Michael Curvers in front, and then Michael has got Matteo Santini to chase down as well. Matteo will be looking in that rear view mirror for Michael. He has got about 1.1 seconds between the two, so it's not a massive gap. However, it's enough where he can sort of play it a bit safe and try and hold on to that lead. Darren Adams actually going side by side with Josh Martin. Really good move if he can make it stick. It looks like Josh will have the inside for the left-hander, and he should be able to hold on. Yes, he does, as Darren Adams ran slightly wide, slightly sideways as well. As Michael Curvers has actually managed to really close the gap to Matteo Santini. It was down to 0.3 seconds between the two, as Heinz is 0.1 now between him and Miha. As you see coming down the pit straight, will he look for a move up the inside? No, he goes to the racing line. Miha obviously comes back across as far as he can. As you see, Heinz is trying to get past Miha, 0.1 seconds separating them as they come through turn 3. Not being able to really get past, 0.1 seconds still separating them. As both drivers are off, both are off into the wall, and could Mate potentially capitalise? No, Heinz is able to get past Miha. However, they've lost 30 seconds to Gasper in front, which is a massive amount of time, as Miha will now come under pressure from Mate behind. 0.3 between the two, so not really able to properly get past. But that is a big event happening between this battle, as Miha will now come under pressure from Mate behind. Not sure whether Heinz will be able to catch up to Gasper in front. I doubt it. However, anything is possible. Janko then closing onto the rear of Mate as he now dives into the pit lane. So we're about a third of the way through, and Mate is one of the first ones to dive into the pits to get a change of tyres, I believe. Obviously being on the softs, could we see him come out on the mediums, or will he go for a two-stop strategy? Pardon me, and go for the mediums, or go for the double or triple softs. We'll have to wait and see. No, he's gone out on the medium, so it will just be the one stop, and he's tried to get the undercut. 0.4 between Eric and Darren Adams. Eric having to push like crazy to try and catch up. Gets up nicely past Darren Adams, nice and easy, and he's got another 6 seconds to gain to the first Ginetta, and then he's got to find 30 seconds to catch up to Mate. who after coming out of the pits has been dropped into 11th, and he's got quite a gap to Marjan in front. Obviously he is the faster driver, so he should be able to get up and get past. However, he's still got a bit of time before he is able to do so. Michael is trying to catch up to Matteo Santini in front, 0.7 between the two. Both drivers on the soft. Michael was slightly slower that last lap by about 0.3. As you see, really having to use the engine brake to try and get that car stopped as late as he can. So he is really trying to chase down that Porsche in front, as Eric has been able to get himself up into 13th. Josh has got 5.4 seconds to catch back up to Jeffrey in front. You can see there's quite a sizable gap, and he's going to be really busy if he does try to catch back up. Mate then closing on the rear of Miha, unfortunately not really able to get past. 0.4 seconds separating them as they come down through turn 3. Still not really able to get past that Porsche 911 RSR, but is certainly not backing out anytime soon. That is a very aggressive looking livery for a very aggressive car. As we come to Alice, Curran is trying to close down on Luca in front. He's got 0.3 to catch up. You see as they come down the pit straight. Will he look for a move up the inside? 0.1 now as they come out of the slipstream down into turn 1. Luca brakes as late as he dares, and he still holds on to that 16th place. 0.2 then still separating the two as they come down into turn 3. Alice has not really been able to catch up to Luca properly as of yet, as he's trying to close down. 0.4 seconds as they come through this long left. He is trying as hard as he can to catch up to the rear of that green machine. Unfortunately, he hasn't really been able to properly get up behind to properly make a move. That turn 1 has been his best attempt, as that is Marjan now diving into the pit lane, so Matthias will be taking his position nice and easy. Nicely down through turn 1. So the gaps are beginning to open here at Estoril. We haven't really got that close a battle. Mate is the closest out of the GT2s, 0.8 to Miha in front. And then you've got Alice Curran in 17th, trying to chase down Luca in front. He's closing down ever so slightly. He was nearly a second faster that last lap, so he has got some really good pace, unless if Luca made a mistake. And that is Eric up into 11th after passing Marjan in the pit lane. So that puts him up into 17th. Alice trying his hardest to catch down the Slovenian in front. As you see, that's Matteo Santini trying to get past Yusuf. Obviously Matteo in the GT2, so it's a real easy breeze. As Alice is trying to catch up to the rear of Luca still. 0.4, 0.3 between the two as they're coming down through the tight left. Alice hasn't really been able to get past. Could being lapped traffic make a difference? It's certainly possible. It's obviously, as the slower car, you want to be getting out of the way, which both drivers do to allow Matteo to get past, and that could allow Michael Curvers to get past nice and easy. As he looks to make, Alice looks to make a move around the outside of Luca. Unfortunately not really able to get anything done, as Michael is now going to look for a move on Alice. Alice not giving him a lot of space there. Michael going to try and get him on the exit of the chicane, I would have thought, which he has done. But as you can see, the lap traffic has made a massive difference. As unfortunately, I believe that is a retirement for Janko. Unfortunate for him, but that is him out of the race. Not sure whether he sustained engine failure or what, but that is him out of the race. Maybe that Corvette is powered by Honda and has just decided to blow up on him. Darren Adams closing on the rear of Josh Martin. 0.4 separating them. 0.4 seems to be a gap that everyone seems to be going for, as that's very wide on the exit for Josh. Could that have cost him? I don't think so, as he now comes through the left-hander. Gasper then has dived into the pit lane. So could we see an undercut being performed by him? 18 laps is the halfway point here at Estoril, with it being 36 laps. So we will see drivers beginning to pit in soon. There doesn't seem to be much action going on on track in terms of battles. However, Darren Adams has closed right onto the rear of Josh Martin. Could we see the undercut from one of these drivers? Doesn't seem to be this lap, so it could be next lap. As Darren is actually popping out of the slipstream to make a move into turn 1. Decided against it. And he stays in 14th, which is 3rd at the Ginettas, which is still a podium position, which is a very good finish. See, drivers are spaced out quite a bit, as that is a Ginetta off on the side. Not sure who that was. I believe it was Brain Malavasic, who has not been having the best of races so far. He is down in 21st. Mate was closing down to Miha in front, which he is doing. 0.2 now between the two, as he can't make a move down into turn 3. Now about 4 seconds from the 911 RSR in front. You can see teeth from that front of the C7R really trying to bite into the rear of this 911 RSR. The GTEs or GT2s, have a look at it, seems to enjoy the R on the end of their names. You got the C7R and the 911 RSR, which has 2 R's, one at the start, one at the end. And I'm not sure why I'm telling you this, because I'm pretty sure you can work that one out. We're going to come back to the action with Mate and Miha trying to battle it out. Well, Mate is trying to get past Miha, as Alice is looking for a move on Luca. However, the more these battle, the more Yusuf is catching up to the rear. As you see, 1 second behind now, which isn't a lot of time, as he is lapping 4/10 faster, purely down to these two battling in front. Not really been able to properly make a move on Luca in front. as we reach the halfway point, could we see drivers begin to pit? It's certainly a possibility. Or will they maybe go for a long medium stint and try and end the race on the faster softs? Obviously it is not mandatory to make a pit stop, I don't think, which obviously means it's not mandatory to make a tyre change, as we see the race leader dive into the pit lane, as well as the Ginetta leader diving into the pit lane as well. Mate going side by side with Bozo, however, nicely in front. So not really a long battle there, as Mate is trying to get back up the grid. Thomas Erzen then dived into the pit lane. Could we see Michael Curvers doing a similar thing, as he now comes through the final turn? No, he's going to try and do the overcut on these drivers. Hines then also looking to do the overcut. Miha, seeing whether Mate was going to come into the pit lane behind, and decided to back up into the pit lane. So a lot of drivers diving into the pit lane. Darren Adams now coming under pressure from Callum Friday, I believe, as he manages to get up in front. Matteo Santini getting past these two Ginettas. Michael Curves then, even after not pitting, isn't able to come out in front of Matteo Santini, and that just proves how much of a lead Matteo Santini has over Michael, as Callum Friday is now looking for a move up the inside of Darren Adams. As they go side by side through the left-hander, they've got Michael Curves behind. He's trying to find a way past, as that's contact between Callum and Michael gets up past Callum. Over Darren Adams has got Michael Curves coming around the outside now. He is able to get past, however I would have thought Michael will be seeing red after that incident, as Callum is sliding up the inside through the chicane. However, Darren has the inside for the second part, and will have the inside for this fast right. However, Callum may have the inside for the fast, or for the long left-hander, which he does, and I believe he got up in front of Darren Adams. Yes, he does, so really easy move by Callum. We almost didn't see it from our TV cams whilst we were focusing on Darren. However, Darren could look for a move into turn 1. We've got 16 laps then remaining here in Portugal. As you see, a lot nicer conditions compared to what qualifying was. The sun is in fact out, and it is a lot warmer than what it was in qualifying, which obviously helps with track grip. Darren Adams then has got his sister teammate of Hind behind. He's currently sitting in third, however he has not pitted yet, as the same with Michael Curvers. You see Hines is trying to get past. Could we see Hines trying to slow Callum in front? No, as it looks like Darren Adams is going to look for a move up the inside of Callum Friday. He gets it done nice and easily. Good move by him, as he gets himself back into 16th place. Thomas Erzen closing on the rear of these drivers behind. You have got Hines just in front. Both drivers on the mediums. However, you have the lap traffic, which does not make it easy to pass. I see a bit of a mistake there by Hines, as he went very sideways mid-corner, as Darren Adams and Callum Friday now gone side by side. However, it's Darren Adams up the inside this time through the left-hander. However, Callum is trying to make a move up the inside through the right. He gets it done. However, will Darren have the run out of the corner, as Josh is now coming out of the pit lane. He was unfortunately jumped by Jeffrey. However, Josh has gained quite a bit of time to Jeffrey in front. Now 4 seconds between the two. However, he's got a lot of catching up to do. Hines then unfortunately lost a position to Thomas Erzen as Darren Adams and Callum Friday going side by side yet again. Callum getting up in front of Darren Adams. These two have been battling back and forth for the past few laps. Neither of these drivers have pitted as of yet, I don't think, as Darren Adams has got a cracker of a run. Unfortunately, he's going to be stuck around the outside, so he won't be able to make a move. But that was a very good run out of the right-hander. As you see, point 2 then separating them as they come down through this left-hander. Is Darren Adams back up the inside of Callum Friday. And that puts Darren Adams back in 16th. See, slight lock up there by Hines in the C7R. Will he be looking to pit soon? Or will he look to try and hold out for as long as he can? Callum closing on to the rear of Darren Adams yet again. Eric Rotterdink, after his mistake in the opening laps, as he's been tapped there, that is a collision between Eric and Mate, and that has put Eric facing the wrong direction. I take that back, it was not Mate, it was Marjan. As that is Luca now facing the wrong way through turn 1. Unfortunate for him, he is now down in 15th. And that puts the two Northern Lights Racing drivers in 2nd and 3rd out of the Ginettas. And Jeffrey is holding on to that race lead, or the Ginetta lead, I should say. 1.6 between Michael and Matteo Santini. I still don't think Michael has pitted as of yet. But he is trying to chase down the driver of Matteo Santini in front. 14 laps then remaining here at Estoril. He's got a lot of time if he's going to be able to catch up. However, he's going to want to get it done quick as he won't have a lot of time to get past. Because obviously it's one thing catching up to the driver in front, but it's a whole other ball game when trying to get past. So hop from the GoPro shot from his helmet. This is what Michael Curvers is seeing. You see coming down the pit straight, almost topping out 6th gear, and really engine braking to try and get the car stopped. As you see, he's got quite a bit of time to catch up to Matteo Santini in front. However, Michael Curvers is a well experienced driver, and he has raced for a very long time here at Core Racing. And he is used to a lot of these drivers. Thomas Erzen there sitting in 3rd. He's got 13 seconds to the driver of Michael Curvers in front. And then you've got Hines there in 4th. One of the Northern Lights drivers then in the background. Bit of a lag there. We saw Josh in the wall promptly. However, that was lag, and he is actually okay and still driving. See, drivers are spaced out quite a bit. Mihal looking for a move up the inside of Marjan, and one of the drivers of either Callum Friday, which it was. Mihal was looking for a move on Mate, as that's a mistake, and that allows Mihal comfortably up into 8th position. Hines trying to hold on to this 4th. He is still lapping in the 141s. It was a very high 141 last lap, so could we see him jumping into the pit lane? Not yet. I don't believe he is pitted, as that is Yusuf diving into the pits now. So that is a pit stop for him and could potentially lose him a position to Darren Adams. As you see, he then came out of the final turn. So I would have thought he lost the position to Darren, which he has. However, he's not too far behind, as he's now going to come across that pit lane limiter line. As you see, Darren Adams is comfortably up in front, as well as Alice is actually in front of Yusuf. So he's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to catch back up. Callum going side by side with Chris Thorpe, as Chris Thorpe has actually dived into the pit lane. Obviously these two are teammates. Unfortunately their paint scheme is not working, so unfortunately they've had to use the bland white liveries. The liveries were in fact done by Lux Liveries, who have made actually quite a few liveries this season. He's made the Slo-Racing Porsche 911 RSR liveries of Thomas Erzen and Mathieu, as well as the liveries of the Northern Light Racing, which is obviously a green, black and white vehicle. The Apex Predator Racing Ginetta as well, obviously made by Lux Liveries. You then also have the cars of Callum Friday and Chris Thorpe, which I believe are Zero Racing, the Zero Racing team, as that is Heinz into the pit lane, another livery done by Lux Liveries. So you can see quite a few liveries being run by that company here. Bozo in 5th. He has got Gasper behind in the C7R as well. He's got a lot of time to catch up if he really wants to make a move. Mate 0.3.2 behind Miha, there in 8th. About 11 laps remaining for these drivers, with it coming towards the hour mark. They will begin to start feeling fatigue, and we could begin to see more mistakes develop. 0.4 seconds between Mate and Miha. 0.3 as they come through the left-hander. So 0.3 as they come down towards the left-hander, or the left hairpin, as he's not really able to get past that. But that was a slight mistake by Miha as they go side by side down the back straight. Mate, however, having to go back into the slipstream. 0.2 separating the two as Gasper is going into, or Bozo, I believe. No, neither are going into the pit lane. However, they, Gasper was able to get past Bozo. I'll try and speak some English. And that puts Gasper into the top 5 finish. So although Mate got past the driver of Miha, he unfortunately lost a bit of time somewhere and unfortunately lost the place back. Excuse me. And is back into 9th place. 0.7 seconds then separating them as they come through turn 3. Shortly followed by the turn of turn 4. Still not really able to close onto the rear. Chris Thorpe is closing onto the rear of Zan Trippin, however. Zan, a driver who's not been having the best of seasons in the Ginetta. He has managed to keep out of trouble this week and is there in 19th place and is now coming under pressure from Chris Thorpe behind. See, hard on the brakes down into turn 1. 0.5 seconds, as that unfortunately is a retirement for Brain Malavasic. Unfortunate for him, he was running down in 21st. So we are now down to 20 runners, 6 of which are Ginettas, and the other 11 are GT2s. You see, that is one of the Slo-Racing drivers catching on to the rear of these two. That will either be Thomas Erzen, which it is, as he looks to chase down these two in front. Michael Curvers, unfortunately, still not able to close onto Matteo Santini. He's lapping the same lap times, however, he just can't beat that 911 RSR in front. You see Mate closing onto the rear of Miha yet again. 0.2 seconds separating them as they come down through the turn 4. And he's not really able to get past Miha, flashing one of the Northern Lights drivers in front. That is Yusuf, to let him know that he is planning on going past, as Mate quickly follows. Actually up in the news currently in the motor racing scene, obviously we're backing out a bit from what is currently happening on track, but Lewis Hamilton has been crowned the F1 champion, I believe, at Mexico. So very good congrats to Lewis Hamilton. Obviously with Sebastian Vettel qualifying pole, then had Lewis Hamilton, who I believe qualified 3rd, and he's managed to take the World Championship. So really good job by him. And we're going to come back to the action here at Core Racing and Slo-Racing Multiclass, where Mate is trying to close down on Miha behind, as he's now 0.2 seconds down the pit straight. As Miha's going to have to go defensive to protect from Miha. 0.3 seconds between them as they come through the right-hander. 0.4 seconds still as they come through turn 4. 0.6 seconds, so these drivers are spacing out quite a bit. Matteo Santini then is still your race leader. I really do just love the sound of this 911 RSR. It just screams so much and it sounds amazing. But he is still your race leader. You then have Michael Curvers there in 2nd place. You've then got the driver of Erzen, Mern and Gasper rounding out the top 5. Nearly said top 3. Hines then, after his pit stop, managed to get himself up into 6th, with Miha in 7th under very close pressure from Mate behind. Marjan Kodeman is there in 9th. You've then got Bozo Fues in 10th. I'm sorry, I'm really butchering some of these pronunciations. Eric Rotterdink there in 11th. You've then got Jeffrey in 1st for the Ginettas, followed by Josh Martin. Josh not really been able to put in any really quick lap times to close down ahead. Darren Adams there in 3rd. You've then got Alice in 4th and Yusuf in 5th, as that is one of the RSR cars trying to get past. Luca there in 6th. Callum Friday in 7th. Trippin in 8th. And Chris Thorpe in 9th. As Marjan unfortunately makes a mistake and he's off playing in the gravel. He's building some sandcastles as he comes on, and Bozo Fui very nearly causes contact between the two. However, he managed to get past, as that has Marjan into a wall. Unfortunate for him. He will have a look at that replay. That was a very big hit against the wall. As you can just see, he was back on track, and with those gravelly tyres, he just ended up losing the back end and plummeted into the wall, which is a very big collision indeed. However, he's managed to get the car back going again, as it looked like Bozo is closing on the rear of Miha in front after a mistake there, a bit of a lock-up by Miha, and that has allowed Bozo to close right on the rear of the car in front. Point 3 then as they come through the final turn. Point 2 seconds then separating them as they come down the pit straight. Bozo's going to look up the inside. Miha going to go back to the racing line. However, Bozo is really sticking out the inside. Can he get it done? Unfortunately, he cannot, and it's still 0.1 seconds separating the two. We will have the inside for turn 3, as they are still side by side. Will he get it done in turn 4? He certainly braked as late as he dared, and he's managed to get it up in front. However, he's had a very big moment on the exit. Manages to keep it out of the wall and off the grass. He managed to hold it and stays in that 9th place. Really good job by him. See, 0.7 seconds then. 0.5 seconds separating two, as he's really having to fight the rear of that car with those tyres being heated up, and the gravel on the rear tyres as well. That has cost the rear end to be very twitchy for him. As you can see, he's really having to fight that car. He's just got to take it very easy and allow those rear tyres. Oh, bless me. As that's contact between Bozo and I believe that was Yusuf. That was a very big collision between the two. As it looks like he is slowed down to allow Yusuf to go back past. That was a very big piece of contact between the two, and that did cost Bozo quite a bit of time. And could he come under pressure from Mayan behind? He's 4 seconds off. He's got 5 laps left in the race. You've then got Matteo Santini, who's now going to come on to his 32nd lap. So he hasn't got many laps in order to get back past, or to get back up on the rear. Chris Thorpe then was closing on the rear of Zan Trippen yet again. 0.3 seconds separating them as they come down through the chicane, or should I say up through the chicane. Driver's really using a lot of that inside curb there. I'm not sure what the stewards will have to say about that. However, he has lost quite a bit of time to Zan in front. See Matteo Santini there in the lead. And Michael Kerber's stuck in a bit of traffic, as he has a very big moment on the exit of that corner. How he managed to hold it, I do not know. However, that was a very big moment indeed. We will have a look at that replay of the collision between Bozo and Yusuf. As you saw, he was a bit sideways on the exit, and then he just came in and unfortunately got on the brakes too late, and unfortunately got caught with Yusuf there, which was unfortunate. As we'll come back to the racing live. Chris Thorpe then closing back on the rear of Zan yet again, as that's a mistake there by Zan, and that puts Chris Thorpe comfortably into 19th position. But then the next closest battle on track is actually actually Luca. However, he is a full 3 seconds from Yusuf in front, as that's a mistake there by Luca, trying to push the car to its limits, as he did find the limits, as that's a car off. I'm not sure who that was. It looked like there was a car off. It may have been Marjan, I'm not sure. However, there was a lot of dust and smoke being thrown up behind one of the cars. Matteo Santini then on his 33rd lap. He's only got a few more to go before it is his victory for the taking. Michael Curves there in second, still not able to close down. Eric Roterdink is actually closed onto the rear of Marjan, so he may not be the final GT2 after his many mistakes he's had. It does look like they replaced the bodywork on that car, which has obviously helped him put in some really fast laps. He was 4 seconds faster that last lap than Marjan. A full 4 seconds, that is quite a lot of time, as he's actually lapping at about the pace of the leaders, I believe. Obviously that last lap he done a 1:11, I believe, as Marjan and Eric are now going side by side. Eric up the inside, and he takes that 10th position from Marjan. As that's a driver off in the background, I'm not sure who that was. That was in fact Luca, who went off in turn 1. Josh is closing onto the rear of Jeffrey still. Not a lot. He's still got 7 seconds over the next couple of laps, which is not a lot of time. You see Matteo Santini then holding on to the race lead. Mattei sitting there in 7th. Looks like a lot of these drivers will stay as they are, as there isn't many battles happening on track currently. Marjan is the closest gap to Eric on track. However, Eric is just driving away. Big lock up there for Marjan, as he almost piled into the rear of Yusuf yet again. Well, actually it wasn't him who ploughed into the rear, but it would be very unfortunate for Yusuf. That would be twice this race alone that it has happened to him. As you see through the final turn. So it is Matteo Santini who still leads. He's only got a couple more laps to go. This is his second to last time through turn 4, as he now comes through turn 5. See flames shooting out of the back of the Porsche. Maybe he suffered a bit of damage to the engine or something. It doesn't seem to be affecting his performance too much. However, it is Mattei in 7th, Miha in 8th. You've then got Eric Roterdink in 9th, and then Bozo Fui in 10th. It's all in all a very interesting race so far, and it hasn't even come to an end yet. Michael Curves is closing down Matteo Santini in front. Not sure whether it's just because of the time gap where through the braking zone, as Marjan has managed to get himself, as Bozo Fui is into a wall, as he tries to spin that big C7R around. As he goes back around again, it's a merry-go-round almost, as he tries again, as Matteo Santini is on his final lap. It will be the final time he comes down through turn 1. We will hop on board for his final lap, as there isn't many battles going on track. As you see, as he runs wide, he doesn't need to do anything stupid. He can just take a gentle stroll to the finish line. As you see, obviously the tyres will be going off now, as you can just see how much he's having to steer to try and get the car turned. See, he is driving away. Down into this very tight left-hander. Down into second. Shift up into third, prevent the rear wheels from spinning. And then up into fourth and fifth. This will be the last time we'll be seeing this track in this race. As he's through the right as he now comes to the very fast right before the chicane. Down into third. You can really see from on board how tight that chicane is. It's very easy to outrun yourself and then run wide. He's only got a couple more corners to go. This is his final turn. And the race victory is to Matteo Santini. He takes the race victory. He's led for most of the race and he has held it there and has taken that race win. You then have Michael Curvers finishing there in second. Thomas Erzen comfortably taking that final podium position. Matthias there in fourth. He should be able to take fourth comfortably. Heinz then managing to get himself up into sixth. Good finish by him, considering it's his first race in the GT2, GT4 multi-class. Really good finish by him. Mate should finish in seventh if all goes well. Eric finishing in ninth, with Miha in 10th. Bozo then will finish in 11th, with Jeffrey finishing first out of the Ginettas. As you see, he has got Heinz up in front. Josh Martin will finish in second out of the Ginettas. Really good race from him. As well as his teammate Yusuf managed to get himself up into third. Luca then in fourth in the Ginettas, with Alice in fifth and Darren Adams in sixth. Callum Friday finishing in sixth, with Zan in seventh, Chris Thorpe in eighth. And I'm not sure what happened to the rest of the finishers. So that was all the action then from Estoril GP. Hopefully we'll be able to get a interview with a lot of the drivers to see what they thought of the race. We will go to a quick advert break and hopefully we'll be able to join you after that. So then we have managed to get a word with Heinz after that very interesting race at Estoril. Heinz, obviously with this being your first GT2, GT4 multi-class race, did you feel comfortable in the car?
Hi Thomas, no, this was my second event in the series.
I must have missed you in the other rounds. It's been quite a while with this 2-week gap.
Yeah, at Road America, I seem to have. I got unfortunately in a bad position with some guy, and we ended up having a real tangle down the back of the course. I think you just missed it on your broadcast, which was fortunate because it was quite nasty. And I was just at the back the whole race. But yeah, moving on from that, this race, I seem to have found a good setup for the C6. I was comfortable in it. But when I realized that I was going to be roughly a second to a second and a half off the pace of the faster guys, I thought I'll just enjoy it and stay out of trouble this time. And you know, those who was the winner? It was
Matteo Santini, I believe.
Matteo. Was he in a Ferrari or a Porsche? I don't know what he was in, but he was flying whatever he was in.
I believe it was the Porsche.
Yeah, just couldn't compete with any of them. But I had a really awesome first 6, 7, 8 laps with a guy called Miha, I think, from Slo-Racing in a Porsche GT3, I think, or a GT2, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And I was just on his bumper. You know, I couldn't find a way past, and eventually I got a position or an opportunity to make a move, and we got tangled up. But I think it was fair enough that when we both rejoined the track, I was well within my right to keep the position. But after that, just created some space between whoever was behind me and just enjoyed the race.
Yeah, definitely. You had a very good battle with Miha in those opening few laps. It looked like you were struggling for a way past. Was you beginning to see red almost? Starting to get angry, or did you manage to keep your cool and try and look for that opportunity?
No, I was just waiting. I'm the kind of guy. I'm more cautious than I am dangerous. I just wait. I'm quite happy to just sit in someone's bumper and force them into a mistake, because it's exactly the opposite. If someone's on my bumper, I'm usually the one getting flustered and making the mistake. So I think if I can be the one to put that pressure on, then I'm happier rather than, you know, being the one under pressure. But yeah, I just waited and eventually got the chance, and after that it was just a clear race to the end.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully we can see you challenging for those podiums. Obviously we had a very good race this week. Is there any tracks you will feel really comfortable at, or is it all very similar?
Well, if I was going to say which was my strongest track in the series, I would have said probably Road America. But I was unfortunate there. Estoril, hate this track. Glad it's done. Spa, coming up next, would be awesome. Can't wait for Eau Rouge. Never been to Okayama, couldn't say. But Barcelona as well. Out of Spa and Barcelona, I probably put my money on Spa for a good result, and I'll probably be in the top 10 for Barcelona. But enjoying the track so far. Pity I missed Donington, but yeah, good series so far. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully you can make it a podium at Spa and maybe even some other circuits. If maybe you strike some luck or you find that good setup like you done this week.
It'll be in my dreams, Thomas, but I'll try.
So very well done, Heinz. So hopefully we'll be able to catch a word with Chris Thorpe, I believe, if I can get him in the room. Chris, you're here in the commentary box with us. How did you find that race?
Hello. Who's that?
It's Thomas Brown from the commentary box.
Are you? You're not recording me, are you?
Yes. sorry.
How did I find that race? Oh no worries. Yeah, well, I definitely wasn't on the pace that I was in practice, so I was a bit disappointed about that. Had a good hard race with, I think it's Zan. Eventually got past him, and then in an effort to let Josh pass, I let him by again. Ended up spinning a couple of times after that. So after that, it was a little bit of a letdown, to be honest. But I finished anyway.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the main things. Points mean prizes, as they say.
Exactly.
With this Ginetta, are you feeling comfortable in the Ginetta?
Yes, I quite enjoy driving it, I must admit. Don't seem to have the pace. I can't seem to get the pace that the other guys have got. I don't know how they're getting it. Need to sort of collar them and see what their setup is. But I'm racing with Slo-Racing now, with Callum Friday, and he seems to have some sort of pace, so I think I'll glean some tips from him.
Yeah, definitely. We saw that Slo-Racing team. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the livery working, which is a shame. I know you were busy all week trying to get that sorted.
Oh
which is
yeah,
a shame.
it was literally put on the site this afternoon, so it's no wonder you didn't get it.
Yeah, which is a shame. So hopefully we can see you and Slo-Racing making it up, making some good finishes. Maybe a race victory or some podiums would be very good to see.
Sorry, I am laughing a bit when you said that.
It's fine. Anything can happen in a race situation.
Yeah, it's like people can run out of petrol. That would help.
Yeah, I remember racing many moons ago in their touring car season, and many drivers done that quite a few times, which was very interesting.
I think I'm not getting the pit stops right as well. I'm not timing them right, and I overshot as well this time, which wasn't helpful. Had to do a bit of reversing to get back in my pit box.
Yeah, it can be very difficult trying to get as much time where you're essentially flat out in the pit lane on the limiter and trying to slow down as quick as you can. It's very easy to overshoot.
Yep, correct.
Well, very well done. Hopefully we can see some more good finishes in the future.
Okay, I'll do it my best.
That's all you can do. So that is the action from this week's race. We will catch you in 2 weeks, where we will be in Belgium for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and hopefully we can get some more interesting races where those gaps will close down and we'll see some big car battles between all of them. So from us in the commentary box, we wish you good night.